us two gentlemen who will be discussing the importance of data in crisis management. You're welcome to the studio, gentlemen.
Thank you for having me.
Mr. Biola Ogundeko. You're welcome, sir. And Mr. Adekunle Durosimi. These men are IT experts, and they will be giving us what they think we should know about data management, especially in crisis management. So I will start with Mr. Adekunle Durosimi. What is actually data management?
When you talk about data management, we are talking about these are basic things that we deal with on a daily basis. That is the data, the information we share on social media, the calls, and most of the things that we are doing. Now, we're not talking about data management. There is an aspect of research in computing talking about big data. Because most of the data that we have, when you talk about big data, the meaning of this is talking about unstructured data. We have data, but it's just because we don't structure it. Now, let me tailor it down to what we are talking about. You know, the issue now, governments or those in the authority are trying to identify the so-called vulnerable. It shouldn't have been a problem if we are putting necessary things into places. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because when you have the data of a citizen, that's why they have been talking about the contract tracing, looking at this and that and all those things. Thank God, Mr. President said they've been able to achieve about 92% of that. Now, data can really help when we manage the data. We are looking at those who were affected with this virus, then who and who they have access to. Of course, we heard that many of them travel abroad. They have international passports. When you are filling your international passport, you have next of kin, you have your address. Once you discover that this person just arrived from UK and is affected with this, you don't need to bug your mind. Then you should go directly, and you know the person has, you know, meet any of his family member. You should be able to use that data from the immigration office.
To trace.
To trace. We are talking about data now. So we have this data. It's just for us to bring this data together so that we work on it. If we don't work on it, if you look at the trend now, in the last some years now, there was a time we have a Zika virus, there was a time we have Ebola, there was a time we have a Lassa. This is another one, COVID-19. So it's telling us that a lot of things could be happening. So we need to manage our data at this point that we are in this issue. Not that we don't have that data, we have the data, but we must look at it. How do we segment those data so that they can be a data that we can make use of and solve some of these problems?
Okay, Mr. Ogundeko, who are those people scheduled with the responsibility of managing this data? According to Mr. Durosimi, he said, we have it in Nigeria, we are not utilizing it. So who are those people that are supposed to use it, and for what purpose?
Okay, thank you. Let me just, let me add to, or start from where my brother have just stopped. You see, when we talk about the data, data is just, is a unit of information in a research, and then we use data in a scientific, for scientific job, finance, businesses management, and a lot of things. But the problem we are having is this, just like what he said, it's not as if we don't have it. What do we know about data? For example, we want to talk about unemployment. How do we generate and ascertain a specific unemployment rate, for example, in a state? Don't let me mention a state. In a particular state, how will you say, okay, we have 0 or X and Y amount of unemployment rate? We can't get it until when the agency or status that's saddled with the responsibility. That, I'm trying to answer your questions now. For example, Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports. Okay. Their major work is just to make sure that they give a social support for the youth. Then you want to know, how do we classify youth? We have a youth that are in the formal sector and informal sector. We have to make sure that we have a database that will be able to capture the different categories of people that we have. But the problem we are having is this, because we've not really, I'm sorry, we are living in a society whereby we don't really pay more attention to, we want to really get actual figure about the citizenry. Not until something like natural disasters, just like this, happens. That is when we'll be running up and down. But to answer the question correctly, every individual, organization, federal government, state government, local government, they should be able to be interested in the welfare bin. If you're in abroad, developed countries, there's what we call social security number. How do you generate a social security number? And what do you need social security number for? You need the social security numbers for you to be able to give support for your people. But how do you do that? People will be saying, there are no jobs, there are no this. For example, if somebody comes to me as an IT person, say there are no jobs, I want to know the total number of the youths in a particular environment. They are saying there are no jobs. I want to know their level of education. What do they study? Which school? Do they have NCE, OND, HND? You know, that kind of thing. The qualification. And what have they studied? I want to know. If they are studying engineering, sciences, accountancy, we want to know. Then the job providers, for example, the first job provider is government. But the missing link is this: government cannot provide jobs for everybody. The government should be like intermediary between the private sector and the job seeker. But before government can say, okay, fine, we have this, we have that, government should have gotten the data and keep those information in a database. Then when time comes, they want to support the youth, unemployed youth. They'll be able to tell the job provider that we have 100 youths, they are looking for jobs. Those youths, their age range is between 18 and 25. Okay. And out of 100, 20 have studied accountancy, 10 have studied medicine, 10 have studied law. Okay. Do you understand now? Okay,
so that you can go to the bank, data bank and pick what you want.
Yeah, okay. But like what he just said, that with this, what we have now, this pandemic, you know, government, for me, I'm a little bit closer to them at federal and the state level. I can confidently say they have been doing their best. Okay. But the missing link is this: when you say vulnerable, how will you classify vulnerable? Do you get it now? Yeah. How will you classify vulnerable? Is it not a matter of somebody like one person, because you are a political holder or you are in a position of authority?
Abiola, I'll still come back to you, but you mentioned vulnerable. I'm coming back to that, but let me come back. Let me go to Adekunle. You mentioned something about if you have a proper data, that includes making use of information on your passports. Now, one of the gray areas where government actually came out with was the fact that talking about curbing the pandemic spread is the fact that when people travel in, they give wrong information so that it's been difficult to actually trace them, to know where they are isolating and who they are meeting with. But should that be an excuse? Are we having a messed up data base or data management when you look at what is it? Because if you come, I want to believe that Nigeria is big enough to actually, okay, this is the information you are submitted. It should tally with what we have about Mr. A and what is based in his contact, so that question from the airport, question will continue to be asked. This address does not match. Where exactly is there? I don't know whether I'm talking sense. You got what I mean? Yes. So why should we be having such crisis? It's as a result of the fact that it's as if we were not doing anything in the area of data management in Nigeria before. Because there is no way you tell me that somebody is traveling and at the end of the day, the person is giving you wrong information. Now, let me give you these instances. Most of these people that we're talking about, they arrive from UK or Canada or whichever place. Now, they have international passport. They fill this information. Whether they are telling lie or not, of course, they have applied, they have international passports. Now, this same set of people, you will see that some of them will have what is called national ID card. That's another data in other field. Some of them may have driver license, making 3. Now, where the work of big data comes in, data management comes in, is that before that time, we need to synchronize this data. And if I should provide information, names may be equal. We may have Adekunle Drews in 10,000 of them in Nigeria. But the only unique thing, God created us in such a way that this my Harris fingerprints are not the same.
It can never be the same.
It can never be the same. It's like you are talking about MAC address in computer system. That's where they track the so-called Yahoo boys. That's where they don't know in any of the phone you are holding or the computer. So this time around, that's why I said in the first instance that we have the data. This data is within immigration, is federal road safety, national ID card, NIMSI.
Even with the banks.
Even with the banks, BVN, making 4. Now we need to bring this data together, centralize this data. How can I was surprised I went to go and do a SIM registration about some, maybe a year or some months back. And they asked me they gave me a form again. They said they want to fill my information. I said, tell your people, tell this telephone operator, you are the one causing problem in this nation. I have SIM already, and you're asking me to provide another information again. Why would I not tell you different mother's maiden name? Can't you just insert my previous phone number and get this thing done? Of course, bank, they have done something tangible in that area. If you want to test them, go to other bank, tell them you want to open another account. They will be requesting for that BVN number. Even with that name, they will check. You cannot just change name. They have done a centralized database. That's why those data are very correct. So I was surprised when you're telling me somebody traveled and the person feel maybe you want to go with a particular airline, the person is providing a wrong information. How come when that person has a high-risk authentication that you can use biometrics to synchronize to check? Let me give you this instance. I was in Ghana in August last year. I went to this same hotel. When I got there, I just told them, this is my name. They said they didn't give me any form again. If you continue to go to hotel in Nigeria, many of them that have been going to, they continue to give you form to fill. I said, what's the essence of giving me this form? The same hotel.
Because you shall just click.
It's just a click. And at the end of the
customer, this should be,
and at the end
they
have computer in their decks. And now I ask them, what are you using this computer? But now they're in Ghana. They did it. They just punched in my name, and they said I was there. So in fact, they were still sending message to me to work on me so that anytime I come to Ghana again,
so
I can launch. It shows that they are using their data. That's why I said Nigeria has data. But this COVID-19 should teach us a lesson now. Let us bring this data together. JAM collected over 2 million data of youths. That those who wrote JAM, over 2 million, they have that data. So why are you not telling me we don't have data? Hospital, those that they are giving birth on daily basis, from, okay, if you have any hospital in Ogun State, we have Ministry of Health in Ogun State. Why is it that Ministry of Health cannot be collecting those data from hospital when you have a newborn baby? From each of the hospital. After all, you are the one giving them accreditation. That, okay, this hospital should operate and all those things. We have so many councils, so we are just, I'm tired of when you go to an organization, they continue to give you paper to fill. I said, you are wasting time. At the end of the day, you see that paper in Pancheke, people using it to sell paper. So that is where the challenge is. Not that we don't have data. Let us bring this data together, centralize that data. When you centralize it, how can I be using this particular phone number and I'm providing my mother's maiden name, Ajayi? Another phone number, my mother's maiden name is Akoni. It's wrong. You should pick me. You should arrest me if you bring those data together. And that's the work of NCC. NCC should collect all the data. There was a time they said they want to charge particular network operator. I don't want to mention them, that they don't have a solid data. But what was the aftermath of it? We did not hear anything. So, call this, many Nigerians are using about 2, 3, 4 phone lines.
Different information.
Different information. Different mother's maiden name. And you continue to collect my fingerprints. You take my picture, iris. So what else? What else do you want? That's it. God created us in a way that we are unique. It can never be equal. So why not manage those data?
Is it not even the highest form of irresponsibility when you do all the registration? And of course,
it's a waste of time.
And after some months, they still send message to you that you need to come
and
register.
That's the problem. That's the problem. That's why we cannot get those data. You cannot identify who are vulnerable, who are all these things. All these things, it's as if we are not ready. It's as if we are not ready. We have this data. Let us bring this data together.
Abiola, you said it's looking at the problems of data management, and of course COVID-19 came. The government cannot provide for all its citizens. They have to look out for, okay, those that we can reach out to, and that came the vulnerables. Now, we don't have a proper data management. How did they actually fish out the vulnerables. You said so. You said you are close to them, either at the federal a little bit and from the state. Even at the federal, we don't want to come to the state now because there have been many allegations in the state that the political leaders handle the distribution of palliatives, and of course they give to whatever they want because there is no data to actually know. And of course, if you want to go and give palliatives, private ones will look for those that they are close to. Maybe same political people come out, come to Newdawn, come to. Anyway, my question is, looking at this challenge, we cannot run away from the fact that we are having data management challenge. How did government actually fish out the vulnerable? Especially looking at the fact that there was even a report that in some areas in Nigeria, the vulnerables have been collecting 5,000 naira per month for the past 5 years. It was COVID-19 that allowed us to know what was used to actually get the vulnerables, and of course for Nigerians to be sincere with that exercise.
Okay, thank you. If I would say, this is a very sensitive question, but for me, I'm a patriotic Nigerian and Ogun State citizen.
And you said they are trying. That's what I said.
Yeah,
you
of
said
course,
the government are trying. So
because
there must be a method. They are trying means there is a challenge.
Yeah, of course,
But they actually went through the challenge to actually maybe get an average.
I say that because I'm an IT person.
Okay.
And for me to have had 1 or 2 opportunities to have traveled out of the country, so I know what ought to have been done.
Okay, okay.
So in doing this, to answer the question you just asked first, the first thing is this: from my own personal perspective, the way I look at the whole thing, I think the community leaders, the religious leaders, imams, pastors, they were, contacted, they were reached out to, that this thing is not is not food for party members. It's for the citizens of a particular state. For example, Ogun State, because I did some personal investigative research, that the pastors and the imams in various communities, they were spoke to. The chairman of CDAs, they were approached to, that this is way of government giving back social contracts with our own citizens. And then this thing is not party A or party B. And then I think he did well. But my own personal concern is this: at a particular time or in a particular environment, we should know that government cannot provide jobs or provide food for everybody. But when it comes to vulnerable people, this thing cannot actually go well or go down to the total number of people. But as an IT person that knows what needs to be done properly, and like what my brother or my friend have just said here, that this should be, we should have a post-event analysis, that after this, may God save us from this, we should not spend much time on this. After this, the respective agencies and government, both federal and the state, they need to sit down and do post-event analysis. That we said we give food relief support to vulnerables. How do we got that? Fine, we did manual or communal support.
Manual with sentiments.
No, I don't want to use, I won't use sentiment, because I think I've been able to get some facts. But for us that we are in IT industry, we just felt in a particular community, a particular town may not actually get all this IT of a thing that we are doing, but there should be a system must be put in a place that, okay, before this event, we need to know how many people, in terms of age-wise, in terms of productivity-wise, that, okay, fine, anytime government want to support our citizens, these are the people that we have their details in our database. But for now, the way I look at the whole thing, we've not really gotten the database that we have them in silos. This one will say this, this one will say this. So Imam may decide to give this government support, food support relief to his own caucus, organization alone. Pastor may say, I belong to this XY church, I'm not giving this. But in a situation where we have
I'm not giving this, I'll take care of this first.
So,
and of course, it's normal.
That is the reason why personally I said the government of the day, they are really trying. But the problem is this: how to target, to get to the real people that really actually need this. That's the problem. And the only solution for us Because if we are comparing ourselves with developed countries, we are not doing what developed countries are doing or they've done, and we want to actually get the result that they are getting. What they've done is this anywhere. That is why they have the social security number. Whatever thing they want to do, they know the people that they want to give it to. They are not really interested in talking to one CDA chairman or pastors or imam. No. You have your own detail, you have your own number that it is unique identifier. We call it in a database management that Mr. A cannot claim somebody's something. But you find it in a situation where government, they have a good intention. They just say, okay, take these things to a particular community. Go and give these vulnerable people. You discover that it may be a particular family, one family will get it, not the entire community. So my own or our own advice or suggestion to the government at the federal and the state level is this: immediately after this pandemic, serious job must be done. If we really want to know that return on investment, because they are really spending money. Look at all these private organizations, they are supporting the government. But who says, how are we sure that the good intention they have, especially the government of the day, how those things, who are really getting those things? Are we sure that the pastors, please just forgive me, the people that are really in charge, are they giving it to, are they sending the message that the government actually want them to do? So that was the reason why I said government, they are really trying.
Okay.
But the monitoring and evaluation system, do you have a system that checks, that even follows suit, those people that are distributing? How are we sure that they are not really doing that? So I think that's just the...
Judge, before I go, based on your points now, can we then trust the actual distributions of monetary issues? We are talking about the vulnerables. We are talking about vulnerables that you don't even have their data. And of course, this money in many places were distributed face to face, so to say, to bring in them. I mean, does this call for suspicion? Okay. Do you want to blame Nigerians that are suspecting this exercise?
No. Let me just say this. In a database management, that's what we call CIA: confidentiality, integrity, and accessibility. So let me just use the integrity aspect of it. There is no how we can say we want to monitor this in 24/7. If we don't do what we are expected to do, we cannot get what we really want to get, because we are all human beings. If care is not taken, the somebody that is distributing, you may get a family, relatives. So the issue of somebody is giving 1 million naira to go and distribute to a particular community. Giving physical cash is not the solution in this 21st century. What we ought to have done is this: those people that we want to give it to them, but we don't have their database, we don't have their data in a database, we don't have their bank details, we don't have their VBN, we don't have all those things. So there is no way we can actually get what we are thinking that we get. Because if a money is given to somebody, the person that the money is in charge, is in care, how are you sure the person will not do this? So there is no way. I think my message to the good people of Nigerians is this: there is no how we can really sanitize. But the good thing is this kind of program should be it should be a continuous exercise, doing a social reorientation. Because I tell you, I keep on telling people, the one and only major solutions to the problem we are having in Nigeria and in Africa is reorientation. Okay. Because if I know what is good for me to do, and that I should do something good, I should not do something bad. I mean, if 10 million naira is given to me to distribute to a local government people, I know that it's not my money. It is people's money. Government asks me to oversee the distribution of this. But in a developed countries, and as an IT person, you don't expect me doing physical cash. It's even dangerous.
My submission on that, Charity, you ask a question now, is that I know that no matter how honest a human being is, no matter how honest you are, giving you physical cash to give to people will always raise suspicion. Yeah. So we must go back to this issue of data and take it serious, so that we know that you don't even have to see Mr. A before you disburse his money to him. If really we want it, if some people are not deliberately actually justicing it for their own selfish end, we'll still come back.
Mr. Dirosimi, I was going to ask you the other time. We use, for this market people, that sells traders, we use these cooperative societies. They register if they want to collect anything from the government, like the Bank of Industry, Bank of Agriculture, Bank of Industry. They go there, submit some forms, and they will input their data, and that will be used to disburse. Can't we use those methods? We know that some can't register. They don't even have money to go to the bank and have a bank account. Can't we use those methods to collate our data and use it in crisis management?
Thank you very much. That's why, if you look at the reports, Nigeria is one of the leading countries in Africa that is using IT very well. Those market women you are referring to, you are looking at them as if they don't know much about what is going on ground. But I want to tell you that most of those market women, they have a mobile phone number, a registered phone number. They do a lot of things that already we have their data. We should be able to make use of this medium to disburse whatever things we want to disburse. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why I continue to hammer it that we have a data. They are unstructured data. We can make use of this data. I don't see anybody, we are 200 million. It has been declared by National Bureau of Statistics that we are now over 200 million. Good. But I want to tell you that go and ask the NCC how many people are using mobile phone. They have a line, registered line. Let's break down that data first. You hardly see anybody, even if you go interior to my village, interior, far, you will see that that person will have whether mobile phone or he or she has a child going to school. That means you have the data. You have something to trace. People come from village to write jump. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you cannot tell me we don't have data in Nigeria. Let us work on the existing data.
So how do we work on it now?
Good. There are bodies that need to work on all this data. We have Ministry of Federal Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy. That's the ICT per se. ICT should work with National Bureau of Statistics. NCC operate under ICT, this ministry. They have the data of everybody using mobile phone. That's one thing. Even those in the city, you buy mobile phone for your mama in the village. That mama has data. So you cannot tell me that mama doesn't have the data. Do you understand? They are in the village. They have phone. That's the first thing you give them. Even if they cannot browse, even if they cannot go on the internet. That's the first thing. They do some trading. They might be receiving money through somebody. So this agency we are talking about, Ministry of Communication, thank God the present minister is trying to do his best for you to know that there are many things those in the authority don't know. There was a time he said he does not know that the price of data is as higher than all this. Do you understand what I'm saying? So they need to go down, bring all this data together. NYC is releasing about 400,000 core members every year. At least in a batch, about 3,000 will be in the States. That's one batch. They have about 3 batches. They have stream 1, stream 2. Those are data that we can make use of. They are coming from a university institution. Minister of Education summoned the Vice Chancellor and Director about some weeks ago that they should go and start online learning. I said, this is medicine after death. This is something they have not started. These are something that some lecturers that cannot even use, they don't know how to check their email. We are in this Nigeria. We know what it entails. Now you are now telling them when everybody is on the lockdown. How many students were you able to identify that it has a mobile phone that can connect to that internet? Is it now you should be introducing e-learning? We have some university that today I want to tell you in Nigeria, private university, that lectures are going on as if they are in the school. We don't know this period. This thing may extend 1 month, 2 months. Some country has been in it for 3, 4, 5 months. So what is going to keep our youth busy? Do you understand? So we have agency that can monitor this data. NIMSI has been collecting this data in the last 4, 5 years. National ID card. What about voters card? INEC too have now. Let's start to bring this data together. It's in the computer. Let's bring it together. Let's centralize it.
We're ending off now. And of course, I just laughed when you said the Minister of Communication some time ago.
He said it.
Yeah, that,
he said it.
He didn't know how much people are paying.
Yes, for the data. He said it.
But it didn't surprise. I just laughed because it's just corroborated what the Secretary to the Federal Government said recently.
About
that
the health
they
system.
didn't know the messy health situation of the country. if not for the fact that he is a member and chairman of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. Well, we can go on and on. We're rounding off. What should we do? What should we learn from this, Abiola?
Well, very, very, very simple is this. We should have a post-event analysis. What government have been doing presently, federal and state government, they should not stop. For example, in Ogun State, I think I give a kudos to the government of the day, ably led by Prince Dr. Dapo Abiodun. I've been watching Digi class. I think this is a very innovative something. My appeal to them is that they should continue doing it. Then they should work in hands, especially the Ministry of Youth and Sport, Education, Women Affairs. They should, at least for futuristic sake, they should have a database of the vulnerable people. It won't be as if when we have something to work on, they will start running up and down.
Adekunle, but before you talk, yes, talking about the GZ class, we just hope that the electrical providers will actually
allow the kids to watch
come and collaborate with the state government.
They need to look for sponsors.
Because I know
sponsors.
Because I know that the few time I was at home that I don't have a morning duty, I had to put on my gen for my kids to watch. And of course, how many people can do that in this period? If there is no regular electricity, the aim of the digital class is defeated. And of course, that is why I call on the providers to actually, at least during that period, let people enjoy electricity so that our children will not suffer too much during this COVID-19 period. Your part in short.
Yes, my conclusion is all those agencies I've mentioned, that NIMC, Ministry of Communication, NERA, there are many that they have been collecting this data. NCC, telephone operator, and all those things, they should bring this data together. That will go for post-analysis about what we are talking about. Analyze this data, let's have to centralize them. Know the correct data, know the one we want to, invite this, that's okay, this is not correct, this is correct. So I think that's what we need to do at this point. I want to commend the Ogun State government because when it came on board, it started by collecting the data of youth. Many people were shouting, what are they going to use this data for? Ogun State government should continue. Let's continue to gather this data so that we have our own data, then we know where we are going.
Okay, we've heard it from our gentlemen in the studio. They've talked to us about data management and on how to use it in crisis management also, and we've heard them. We hope the authorities will take note and do whatever we need to do about data management. Thank you for coming, Mr. Drosimi. Thank you for coming, Mr. Ogudeko.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Of course, it is still the Wednesday edition of Newdawn here on OGTV. We started the program by actually talking about the security issue, especially the experience in so many communities last night. Is it a fake information? Did it really happen? And of course, what the security sector doing about it? I know that if we open the line now and ask people to call, definitely the call will just be too much. But our second aspect of discussion will dwell on the experience of so many communities last night in Abeokuta, the state capital. We'll be back.